So I've been asked to sort of put you into the mindset of why Cooked in the Karoo came about. You know, why would I spend 2 years traveling through this vast 400,000 square kilometer semi-desert? My journey with filmmaking actually started in the Karoo in the late 70s. My mum was working on two Afrikaans movies called Verspeelde Lente and Anna, and she was shooting these on a farm called Elandsvlei, which is a large part of the series, but also features in the book. And as a child, I didn't sort of really have a concept of what this place was about, other than it was so silent that, you know, you could hear literally God thinking. So often in the South African context, we forget about what we have in our own backyard. And for anyone who's ever spent any sort of time in the Karoo, you know how it gets under your skin. It takes just one trip and you're forever addicted. As I got older and sort of progressed in where I was in my TV life, was documenting this cooking journey and the places that I go to, the Karoo was something where I felt I could deliver a bit more of who I am and the heart of it, as opposed to a happy-go-lucky sort of cooking road trip through Southern Africa. So what really makes the space tick, the fact that, you know, you can have everything from pre-dinosaur footprints embedded in stone, that you can find fossils, that there's rock art that of the first people, of the Bushmen in the space, right the way through to 7th generation farmers who have been eking a living out of the space for the last 350 years. And part of the reason that I went into it was written in Afrikaans on the wall on a farm in Aberdeen was, I've injected myself with poison. Don't worry, I'm going to go into the town and die. So there's this sort of foreboding sense that the Karoo is this dismal place where everyone's leaving. But there's also good stories of new blood coming back into the Karoo. I've never, ever traveled in a space in my life where, regardless of your profession, where you live in the Karoo, you are welcomed so openly. For me, it was time to sort of spend more time getting under the skin of these places and bringing these amazing places that we have in South Africa in our backyard to life. In fact, I know that when you read the book, you get a glimpse of what that world is. And that was the real mission. Right, design, layout, and the look and feel of the book. This is my 8th book now, and many years ago when I'd finished filming the first 3 seasons of Cook, my housemate at the time was a guy called Quint Bruton, and he was the most talented designer, and I said to him, Quint, if we ever do a book, you're going to do it. Quint still does all our design. And again, it's a group effort. It's Quint and Toby do the design. I'm very lucky to work with a very talented photographer called Louis Hemstra, who brought that to life. Helena, who writes the books. Yep, there's a girl who gets into a man's head and can translate it. Like many, many things in life, whether you're making television or writing a book, it takes a group of people that come together who get it to produce what they do. And I'm lucky to be surrounded by those people. How do we plan or invent new recipes? In the Karoo context, this is quite interesting. Firstly, through the people that you meet. And what I love about the Karoo is it's a practical space. This is not the sort of place where you're going to make butter-based pastries. The butter will melt, the puff pastry will flop. So the practical side of the Karoo is to make runny dough and bake that as your pastry. And you can do it whether it's 40 degrees Celsius in summer or -5 winter. And that's what I love about the food of the Karoo. It's not this fancy stuff with all the frills that you imagine. It's just good, humble, practical food. And they can be simple. The skilpaikie is just cool fat wrapped around the liver of a lamb. And then you can play with it from there, which is what I do in the book. Why don't we coat the inside of that cool fat with a peri-peri, then do it on the fire so you've got those flavors infused. And they're not complicated things to do. Anyone can cook these recipes, but it's just that combination of these traditional flavors and bringing it to the fore. There's a waste not, want not philosophy that we've lost by living in cities, you know, so we don't eat animals from snout to tail anymore. And being out in that space teaches you again to respect the entire animal. Why travel and not experience a space? I love the fact that maybe you go out and buy the book. I love the fact that maybe you watch the show. I would be even far happier if this brief conversation inspired you to go into the Karoo. My role was to bring the space to life and to make you fall in love with it and understand it. And how else can I make people fall in love with the space other than through my art and the art of the people around me? Through the book and the series, I think that I've done that. So yeah, my hope that you go out there and experience it like I have.